I'm AP Townley.
And I'm Pre-Gen Character.
And this is Roleplay Culture. As the new year dawns, we thought we'd tell another little story of our time in D&D.
Our DM for our first 5e campaign liked to do holiday-themed sessions for our party. So Halloween, Christmas, and yes, even New Year's Eve.
This adventure included our very first 5e party. Check out our first story about them right up over here. We had the usual Catnip the Druid and Bruce the Monk, to name a few.
Once upon a time, a new day was dawning on our heroes, specifically Catnip the Druid, sleeping peacefully in her tree. When she woke, she was confronted by a strange sight, a human baby nestled in the branches next to her. After a cursory perception check, she showed the baby to the party, which obviously caused a lot of head scratching.
Many more perception checks were rolled and provided no real insight. And some of the team were not so convinced that this was an ordinary baby. He just seemed a little too intelligent and a little too self-aware of his surroundings. The cigar he kept whipping out was also a clue as well.
Through much discussion and many different checks, we finally got the truth out of the faux baby, because yeah, he could talk. Turns out this bad baby was on the run from his past self. This baby was tomorrow and represented the coming of the new year. And Father Time, his current self, was on the hunt. He needed to capture the baby before the stroke of midnight so the baby could take his place.
But the baby didn't want that. He wanted to be a baby, not to be saddled with all this time nonsense and responsibility. He came to us for protection from his fate, and if we agreed, our reward would be a no-consequence wish. So protect him we did. A friendly mage let us set up our defenses in his tower. Trixie, our wizard ally, created a Leomund's tiny hut on the roof as a last redoubt, in which Trixie would guard the baby.
All of the characters that had ranged options took up post on the edge of the roof to rain hell down on anyone who approached, and Bruce Leroy, the monk, was the only one to stay on the ground and play skirmish and blocker for the enemy. Then it was time for the enemy to arrive. He came as a wizened old man wielding a staff. He called for us to surrender the baby so that he may lay down his staff and allow the new year to dawn. We politely refused.
And by politely, we mean we told him to go get wrecked. Lawful good, we were not. Now, Father Time had some interesting powers. He could cast the spells Slow and Haste, of course being time-related. But the flow of time is an orderly thing, so he could summon creatures from the realm of law and order, mechanics, specifically Modrons. These tiny little terror bots come in a variety of flavors, the weakest of which is the Monodrone, with Father Time proceeding to summon 8 of them to surround himself with.
Monodrones aren't particularly hard to defeat. They're like Kobold level weak, and we smash through them pretty quickly. Only for Father Time to summon 8 more Mondrones, specifically Duo Drones this time, the next level up in difficulty. On and on this went. We'd break through the summons only for him to summon more. Tri-drones, quad-drones, pentadrones, each more difficult than the last. And the entire time he was just perpetually moving forward. Slowly, surely, and inevitably. Then finally, our Ranger Finn landed a critical hit. Surely this would put the eldritch creature down, right?
No, of course not. Father Time revealed one of his legendary actions and reversed time. Finn's player literally had to do their turn over again, and of course they didn't get another critical. Eventually, we finally got him down to almost 0 hit points, only for Father Time to break out his actual big guns and cast the 9th level spell, Time Stop, to freeze us all into place.
Baby Time was forced to concede defeat. It was inevitable. The new year couldn't come without the changing of the guard. Father Time's time was up. The staff needed to be passed. The new Time Guardian didn't blame us, though. He gave us, as a party, a wish of our choosing. That's when Teddy Mercury, our bard, had an interesting idea.
You see, While the rest of us were arguing over magic items and gold, Teddy was thinking about the story. Way back when, in the very beginning of our campaign, like literally the first couple of sessions, when we started, our party was tasked with assisting some pirate fellow with raiding a tomb and finding a legendary sword that once belonged to a hero.
We were pretty sure that the pirate and his buddies were going to stab us in the back, so we kept our eyes open. But our half-orc fighter, that wasn't good enough. When we found the tomb with the sword, Decoy, son of Pig Hostage, decided to start backstabbing first. Unfortunately, through some shenanigans, the pirate was able to escape with help of his allies. Mostly because our DM, we would later learn, made the pirate unkillable because he was in no way prepared for us to start the fight first. He hadn't even given the guy stats yet.
Ultimately, we lost this magic sword, which we would later learn was part of a set of weapons once owned by a group of world-saving heroes. These weapons were the MacGuffins of the entire campaign. Fast forward a year of gameplay, and Teddy realizes that he knows what one of the MacGuffins looks like, and knows that our enemy has it. So that's what he wished for, the return of the sword MacGuffin.
And that wish changed the entire momentum of our campaign. From that session on, the enemy needed to seek us out instead of us following them. The shift of the hunt would bring down an ocean of pain onto our heads. But that's a story for another time.
And if you want that story, you're going to need to subscribe, ring the bell, smash that like button, tell us your favorite D&D story in the comments below. And we'll see you in the parlor.